Welcome back to the Shane Plays Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. I'm enjoying this game very much. It's got a very deep narrative structure. Some ways it's like playing a novel, but it is also a computer role-playing game, so I like it. We're talking to these ancient foremen um, and in the manufactory, if you will, manufactory in the underbelly of Sagas Cliffs. So let us continue.
Ready.
Now this artisan seems kind of funny and more whimsical. The other, or not artisan, the other foreman was like real, rah, rah, rah. But this one's kind of funny and busting his chops. So, master artisan. At first glance, this ancient, unmoving construct seems nearly identical to the others in the manufactory. It is only when you move close into the hazy aura of forelight that you see the intricate, no chaotic whorls of engravings marking every millimeter of its armored frame. And the worker standing behind it is adding even more. My computer's thinking after I hit continue. There's moments with this game that do seem to be intensive on my machine. I don't have the beefiest machine in the world, but it's not old and super outdated either. Morning, the construct says. It is morning, isn't it? I never pay attention to the time. There's not much use for it down here. Firelight twinkles off the construct's blank eyes. I'm artisan. What can I do for you? I want to say, why do you have workers decorating your armor? Because I want to be the most beautiful construct in Sagas Cliffs, the construct declares. The worker behind it chuckles. And there's the worker right there. Joking, it says. My eyes, well, not eyes, but they failed a long time ago. But my other senses are good. Very good. So when my workers want to show me a design, they scratch it out of my plate. I feel it and give them feedback. Not that some of them need it. See, that's a long time to be blind. Why can't anyone repair you? The easiest answer to that question is, we don't have the parts, Artisan says, then lowers its voice. But the truth is that I'm afraid. Nothing's going to make me blinder, but it falls silent. The forge hisses and pops nearby. Those first decades in the darkness were the hardest. Then I started seeing patterns in them. Simple at first, then with colors, depth, and shade. Grand, cyclical designs. It sighs happily. I still see them, and I wouldn't trade them for sight. So we got the gold tide adjusted a little bit for me asking that question. To be perfectly honest, these artists don't need me anymore. They've done wondrous work in the city above. But they like asking my opinion. The construct barks a laugh, and I like giving it. Can you show me something your workers have created? Absolutely. Hold a second. Let me get a sense of what might appeal to your taste. Nested sensors whir into life on its shoulders, and beams of light fan over you in the space of a heartbeat. Not so interested in the arts, I see. Larga, get our visitor the contents of store box 39. A few minutes later, a stalker hurries out and places a heavy object in your hands. No charge, Artisan says. Call it a gift. So I got the globe, or the Globe of Zrul. Interesting. This synth globe clearly depicts an unknown world. The more you look at it, the more details you discover, as if the globe somehow enhances and concentrates your vision as you examine it. It's just an oddity, and it's worth 178 shins. Alright, well that was nice of you. What's your opinion of your fellow foreman? Well, I don't like to speak poorly of my family. The construct breaks off when the worker behind it snickers. It's true, they're difficult in their own ways, of course. We argue, and here we means Master Foreman and me, but that's to be expected. We've known one another for millennia, understand? We went through decades of angry silence until, well, we learned to accept each other as we are. He chuckles. Master Foreman has beliefs, exhausting ones that it can't help inflicting on others. And our broken friend wants to die, I think. Puts it a different way, but it does. And though we bicker, I care for them. How couldn't I, after thousands and thousands of years? It says, what do your workers focus on again? I don't remember asking that the first time. What do your workers focus on again? Decorative etching, creative use of color, negative space, general aesthetics, and fiddly bits, the construct says promptly. Can you tell me about your past? To be honest, I don't like thinking about it. All of us went slightly insane during our centuries down here before the humans came. But the other foreman and I don't dwell on things like Master Foreman does. An ember drifts down from the high ceiling between you. If you want the whole story in excruciating detail, Master Foreman's the one to ask. I already talked to him about it. All right. Farewell. Go enjoy the sunlight for me. Okay. What else can we do here? Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit. Is that as far as we can zoom out? I guess so. All right. Why not? Let's look at the map. Where are we at right now? I guess this is as far as I can go. Now that was Master Foreman right there, who I've already talked to. And I guess there's a broken Foreman around somewhere, if I'm understanding correctly. I can't go any further than this. I love all the little details and animations on these maps. Oh, there's the broken one. Okay. Tarnish. What's up, Tarnish? The elderly man stares vacantly at a distant wall, muttering under his breath. His hands flex on the air, twisting and tweaking, as if he is repairing a machine only he can see. He jumps when you draw in a breath to speak. Yes, what? He says. His eyes rove past you, halt, and return to focus on your face with some effort. Ain't you a quiet one, he says cheerfully. The underforeman makes more noise than you. We should hang chimes for years to keep you from surprising people. What do you need? What's a foreman? I already know the question, but I'm curious. I already know the answer, but I'm curious what he'll say. Well, they are, he says, flapping his hand about the cavernous foundry. The constructs. They're frozen in their tracks, but they run this place together. What do you do here? I take care of my master, he says simply. The underforeman. There used to be more of us when he was making things, but when he lost interest, the master foreman, he jerks a yellow thumb at the construct at the center of the chamber, hired them all, offered them more. Tarnish spits on the ground. Happened a while back, but I don't forget a slight. How long have you worked with the foreman? Couldn't say, he says, his brow furrows. On my first day, I'd already met my wife, but she was still married to, what's his name, with the fishhook tattoo. And I hadn't lost the finger and grown it back yet, so he peers at the ceiling, mouth working. 70 years, give or take. I should retire, but there'd be no one left to mind him if I left. Why do you keep calling your master he? I've worked for him a long time. Guess I stopped seeing him as a thing and more like a him. All of us have our little ways, even him. All right. I guess that's going to be a farewell. Farewell. I can interact with something up here. Oh, is that a ladder? Oh, I think that's the... Yeah, they said something about a ladder that would go back up to the surface. I'm not sure I want to go up there yet. A set of floating rungs rises from the floor, leading up to a more conventional ladder built onto the side of the ancient ship. The ladder disappears in the darkness above. I'm going to step away. I'm pretty sure that takes me to like Government Square or something. That the master foreman or somebody mentioned it last video.
Ready.
Crippled foreman. Segments of this bisected construct's legs lie scattered around it. Someone has painstakingly altered these pieces, giving them small limbs and tiny metallic heads. Okay, that's kind of weird. Nonetheless, they aren't moving. The larger construct's turquoise eyes flicker out of sync with each other as they turn towards you. That doesn't look turquoise, unless that's the turquoise there. I do not understand, it says. The voice emerging from the grill around its eyes is soft, as though you were hearing it from far away. Don't they want to live? The viaducts are open, the commands are received, and yet Its eyelids flutter. Every time I give my children life, they die. These tiny things are your children? Not anymore, it says. Now they are inanimate and lifeless. Their adaptive personalities have been lost. I do not understand why they are dying. I have given the subject of procreation a great deal of thought over the last century, and there are no errors in my calculations. My assistant Tarnish built my children's bodies to my precise specifications. Their intelligence reservoirs are shielded against permanent loss. Its eyes look away from yours as if it is embarrassed. And I want them to live. That should be enough. I'm going to say, wanting isn't enough. Blue. So my blue tide went up. It says, you are correct, it says. Nonetheless, the desire persists. Fortunately, a new direction has presented itself.
I'll remember that.
My children need more energy to live, but my construction prevents me from transfers above a certain threshold, and for good reason. Its pupils rotate, contracting. Energy transfers above a certain percentage would lead to a chain of ruptures in my intelligence rings. I would die. Its voice mesh clicks. Help me force myself to make this transfer, for I cannot do it myself. Click. Help me give life to my children. So he's basically asking to die so that he can give life to his children.
I'm making a note.
What it asks sounds difficult. This is Calistage, my companion. She murmurs, tapping her chin. Difficult, but not impossible. The Order of Truth may be able to help us accomplish what it wants. Will you help me? The foreman says. The words are almost buried beneath the crackling sturge of static. I want to help you. How do I begin? Gold went up a little. I'm feeling like Gold is compassionate. Speak to Tarnish, my assistant. He may be able to help you understand how I function if he is feeling well enough. Can I examine you? Yes, it says. Tarnish, open my preservation hatches and viaduct shields, please. The elderly workman shuffles over and does as he's asked. Oh my, Calistage says behind you. I don't claim to understand everything I'm seeing here, but you'll need an extra set of hands if you're planning to do what the poor creature wants. She smiles. I have hands to spare, of course. You've never seen technology like this. Wires pass through glass tubes threaded with pale light and star-speckled darkness. You glance over at Tarnish. He's looking away, arms crossed, as though unwilling to watch a stranger tinker with his master. Can I examine you again? Certainly. It says, Tarnish, open the hatches and shields again, please. And Tarnish does it. You examine it for several minutes, but learn nothing you didn't before. Okay. You seem very dispassionate about your failures to create children. Well, I got 2 XP for that. I have been through 27 iterations of birth. With each attempt, more of my non-essential personality and intelligence rings rupture. Okay. The foreman's eyes dim. Know that these small bodies are only bodies. 27 versions of my children have lived and died within them. Know that they live long enough for me to understand their personalities and name them before they were purged, lost. A soft whirring issues from the mesh around the foreman's flickering eyes. Why do you want children? Need, the construct says, not want. Its pupils study the distant ceiling. When I was born, I began working in seconds. I did this until our creators shut down our bodies. In the millennia since, I have focused on designing the infrastructure beneath the other foreman's work and instructing workers on how to execute on these designs. Its pupils fall back to you. Eventually, I realized I was unhappy. From time to time, my workers brought their children to the manufactory, holding their small hands, explaining the mysteries of this place to them. Its pupils flicker off. It began as a thought. What would I teach my own children? To be curious, to explore, to ask foolish questions, to see the world above that we 3 have never seen? Foreman's pupils reappear. And when I thought these things, I saw the shape of my children outlined by daylight. They already existed. Can you tell me about how you and the other foreman came to be like this? I will not, the foreman says calmly. It is not an era I wish to revisit. Speak with the master foreman instead. Okay. I'm going to leave that alone. Farewell. Okay. Let me talk to Tarnish again. Ha! Spotted you before you could sneak up on me again, he says, flashing his gums. What do you need? I'm going to say, how do you feel about your master's goal?
Making a note.
It's a fine thing to want children, he says, blinking rapidly. Wish I'd had them myself. Too late now, of course. No lady's knocking down my door. He cackles. Of course, when people have children, it doesn't come at the cost of their lives, most of the time. And that life doesn't belong to a creature that's older than oceans. It's a shame and a waste, but he wants what he wants. He always has. Doesn't mean I won't miss him. How can I give the foreman's life to its children?
I'll remember that.
Tarnish says. His eyes dart to yours, searching. He sighs heavily. I know you're trying to do good, he says, so I'll tell you what I know, like he wants. But I wish you'd leave this alone. He claps your shoulder, speaking to you in a low whisper. He's right that killing himself is the only way. His body ain't the problem. It's something in the way his makers made his mind and spirit. Keeps reclaiming the energy he gives his children. Now, releasing all the energy at once is possible, but it ain't easy. You might try talking to the Order of Truth before you get started. Might be they have some extra tools that'll help you on your way. Okay. Yeah, so we already knew we need to go to the Order of Truth. Alright, farewell. So, let's look at our quest here. Got Beloved Slave. Yeah, I'm searching for Ren. Borrowed and Lost. Yeah, need to find that book that I got accused of stealing. Well, my body stole it, but my personality's in the body now. Then Circles in Red. Yeah, track down the murderer. Foreman's Brood. Help the crippled foreman transfer its life force into its children. Everybody's basically like, go to the Order of Truth. Stay of Execution. Yeah, need to try to save the guy who's being executed. The Sorrow's Prey. Search the Sorrow's latest victim at the Dendra O'Hur Chapel. Okay. Why are these all showing up as with exclamation points? I thought I already looked at them. Alright, close. Alright, I'm not going up yet. There's still more to do. Dendra O'Hur Chapel. Ladder to Government Square. That's right, yeah, I thought that went to Government Square. Michaela. She's a vendor. Alright, let's go over here. Because the main reason I first started coming down here was to try to track down this other cast-off. So evidently it's in here. Oh, what the heck is that? Juvenile Sticus. Clicked. They don't want to talk. There's a lot of Sticus here. Chekekt. This massive creature looms over you. A scent like lightning, and an underground cavern washes over you. It reminds you of nothing so much as curiosity. It chitters and rumbles, waving its large claws through an expressive dance. Something about these smells, sounds, and gestures seems familiar. A niggling itch in the back of your mind. At least you remember the taxonomy now. This is a Sticus, a huge burrowing insectoid. It points to itself and says, Chekekt. It follows with another stream of high-pitched noise. You dig under the city, right? Can you take me someplace? Over the scent of warm gravel, the Sticus clicks and whistles. You understand the words yes and shins. I've heard that the changing god had a sanctuary underneath the city. Can you take me there?
I'll remember that.
The creature listens carefully to you and then slowly rotates its whole body, its hands in front of it. Chekekt's odor is that of internal organs, slowly liquefied, a bright and pungent odor. Nope, it croaks. Not humans. Why not? It considers how to word the phrase, and its eyes are a lambic green in the dim light of the cave. Trust humans, no. Egg thieves, make fish head grub go away, maybe talk. The scent of trapped and still water reaches your nose. It reminds you of a dangerous situation. So their scent reflects their mood, I guess. I would like to go to the Changing God's Sanctuary. He shakes his head and you smell solidifying magma. The aroma reminds you of regret and the knowledge that you should not push further. What do the Styka use shins for? It points to various items on your belt in person, and you think it's telling you that the Styka buy items from a human. Huh. Okay, let me ask you some more questions instead. The Styka waits patiently. Can you tell me about the Styka? It scrabbles briefly at the wall, and a bit of lightning flares about the crown of antennae on its head. Its shoulders shrug, and you smell dust. So they basically just dig. You almost have the sense of the language, the structure, the feel, the sound and scent. The itch on your mind intensifies. You can feel the memory of the Styka's language waiting to reveal itself. I knew I should have taken this anamnesis skill. Try to remember how to speak the Styka's language. This is my best. Oh, I failed. You focus deep within your mind, blocking out external distraction. I gotta get my intellect back, that's hurting me. And will the memories to rise. There must be a reason this tongue sounds familiar to you. There must. But try as you might, you can only conjure the image of a small box flickering impatiently in front of you. No other thoughts attach themselves. At last you relinquish the attempt. It's fruitless. Tidal surge requires trained tidal affinity skill. Unearth the buried knowledge of the Styka language in your mind. What can you tell me about this place? It looks at you intently, and then its spatulate fingers begin a slow and careful dance. The sounds it makes are slow chitters that rise and fall in pitch, accompanied by the smell of ozone. Good rock, full of electricity. All right, so I need a trained tidal affinity skill to try to. So just can't. All right, that's all for now. Farewell. So he basically said that if I can take care of the things that are stealing their eggs, that he might help me. All right, what is this? This tunnel is blocked by debris, but it's loose enough that a burrowing creature could easily push its way through. Okay. I can't do it, but they could. Juvenile Stykus. Chick.
Yes,
right.
child.
What else is this? This is, again, it's loose enough that a burrowing creature could push its way through. Okay.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? I love that you're ready. That is great. It's going to be the same thing here. Sun's blocked by debris, but it's loose enough that a burrowing creature could easily push its way through. Okay.
Of course.
Did I already talk to these? Did I already talk to Palaya here? This violet-skinned visitant paces back and forth before the cavern's opening. It wears fine clothes that serve to accentuate the tall, thin crest on its head. A symbol has been painted on the crest, mirroring the insignia marked on its chest. Its clothes are finely tailored and well made. The name of the creature's race crawls to your mind. It's of Argellan. This one is temporarily chosen to be female. Her bulbous eyes flash quickly around her surroundings before focusing directly on you. The council didn't send you. That much is plain. Her voice is high and fluting. You're aware that this cave isn't safe, I hope. What exactly do you want? This cave isn't safe? Not unless you trust the discretion of the Styka. Those insectoid monsters that are prowling about. Most people are afraid of them. Oh, well, who are you? An agent and negotiator dispatched here by the council. But that should be obvious from my clothing and my guards. Yeah, she's got a couple of levies with her. I was wondering what council do you serve? She gives you an incredulous look. The ruling council of the city, of course. The heads of the slave families. You must be new to Sagas Cliffs. Very new. I was wondering what you're doing here. I'm conducting a diplomatic negotiation on behalf of the city. Unfortunately, I am not dealing with a reasonable species. Her crest flutters irritably. I've made no progress at all. Days wasted in this miserable tunnel, and I have nothing to show my superiors. Maybe I can help you negotiate. She looks you up and down, considering. Doubtful, but you might have other skills I can use. The circumstances call for a new tactic, and these levies cannot do what needs to be done. Nor can I. The Vargella nods. If you truly think you can help, let's put you to the test. It's these damnable Styka, she says. I speak to them, I offer, I cajole, negotiate, and threaten, yet they persist in their digging, and every day another house on the cliffs above slips into the sea. If the digging does not cease, the city itself may crumble, so here is my request. Find a way into their lair, remove their precious eggs, and return them to me. These hostages shall ensure the future of the city above. If you can negotiate a lasting settlement that does not require such drastic measures, you may also pursue that method. But I've been trying for days with no success. I think I can help you.
I'll remember that.
Good. We need to stop the Styka before they bring down the entire substructure of the city. She pauses and lowers her voice. If you manage to infiltrate their lair, be sure to acquire all their eggs. I suspect they will have multiple clusters, and we need them all if we want to negotiate from a position of strength. A panoramic capture ball. She hands you a synth ball with a blinking device inside. Once you're in the lair, activate this. It will show you all the tunnels, the egg clusters, and the Styka themselves. Better to know what you face before you charge ahead. I'd like to ask some questions before I go. Very well. Be aware that the time you spend with me is more time for the Styka to undermine the city. How can I reach the Styka lair?
I'll remember that.
If I knew, I'd go there myself. The Styka are quick to dispatch intruders, and I doubt they would take humans or Vargellans there of their own accord. Perhaps a construct of some sort or a digging machine, but I know little of fabrication or manufacturing, so I'll leave that for you to explore. And I'm working with the main foreman, to get a digging machine. You mentioned the slave families. Who are they? She scoffs and then points to the sigil marked upon her breast. The slave families are the descendants of those brave souls who rose against the injustice of the previous rulers of Sega's cliffs. Led by Chyla the Great, they cast down the tyrants and tore their families asunder. The faithful who stood with Chyla saw their service rewarded with stewardship of the city. Their descendants carry on with this grand tradition. She bows. They have made me their agent. I'm looking for a pale woman named Makina. The name is familiar, and pale humans are rare. One would imagine I might recall someone of that description. Alas, I do not. All right. Farewell. I'm pretty sure. I think, wasn't Makina in this dom? Wasn't she in here in this chapel thing? Let's see if I can talk to them again. Where's my main dude? Chikekt. He regards you silently and then begins its pantomime. The scent of tunnel grubs and sharp metal fills the air. Chittering makes no sense. It manages to choke out a few words of truth. Truth, I think, is the language of the world. What do you want? What you want? I've come to ask you to stop digging underneath the city. Chikekt waves its arm around, and the air fills with the scent of growing fungus. You think it says, why? More incomprehensible chittering follows, then it speaks slowly and carefully. Not learn us speech, not work us. Nope, not now, we dig. Okay. What do you think of Pelaya? Is that a Pelaya? I don't know. The Styka seems discombobulated for a moment. Who? Then it thinks a little more. Then it sprays out a blast of pheromones, and you smell the sharp tang of acid and weakened stone. It smells like distrust. All right. So he doesn't like... I need to know that creature's language. Man, I need to know that its language. All right, that's all for now. Farewell. Bummer.
In an instant.
All right. I'm gonna save. Oh wait, I think there's a. Yeah, let's return the game. I think is it F5 is a quick save? Yeah. All right. Let's go in here. I really need to get my intellect back.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's what I just said, man. Gazing. What is this? A teenage girl lies dead on the slab. Most of her bones are shattered, suggesting that she fell from a great height. Ew. The corpse of an elderly man lies under the shroud. His face is peaceful, and you see no obvious cause of his death. What else? A plump, middle-aged woman lies upon the slab. Her head has been stripped of flesh. Her eyes placed neatly on the slab beside it. Yikes. Under the cloth lies the corpse of a man in dirty, mismatched armor. He appears to have been stabbed dozens of times. The corpse has been partially eaten, gnawed by human teeth. The body cavity is splayed open, and most of the organs are gone. Yikes.
All right.
What's up with these people? Oh, I don't want to interact. No, come back. Oh. I'm going to leave the corpse alone. I don't want to open it up yet. The corpse is in a wretched state, its head and limbs crushed to pulp, with bits of wood and debris embedded in the skin. Alright. Let me talk to these folks and see what's going on. This altar is made entirely of human bones, with a carved skeletal head mounted above. Live maggots wriggle in its empty eye sockets. Yikes.
Fine.
Anything else to look at? The bed of this old pushcart is stained with blood and other more unpleasant things. Okay. Okay. Let's start talking to him. Gazé. The short, squat woman rakes absently at the swollen red tutus decorating her pale, naked scalp. Her claws draw blood, but she doesn't seem to notice. Her head jerks up at the sound of your footsteps, and her too large mouth widens in a sharp-toothed smile. We greet you, tenderling. Yes, we honor your arrival. Her eyes rove over your body hungrily. What brings you to the Dendra O'Hur, What do you wish to share with us? Her gray and pointed tongue swipes at the ritual scarring around her lips, leaving a glistening sheet of saliva. I have some questions about the Dendra O'Hur. No, she chuckles, then covers her mouth with a barbed claw. No, we are not the voice of the Dendra O'Hur, tenderling. Speak with our leader, Imbetu, instead. Savor his words and drink of his thoughts. She gestures extravagantly in the direction of an elderly man standing nearby, as though introducing a prince. Who are you? We are the Gazai of... She pauses. You may not know the word, but we come from another world, a heavier one, more rocks and less life. She rubs her arm absent-mindedly. What's the name of your people in your language? Gazai barks a rattling growl in your face and then slams her teeth together. Then she smiles. You see, it does not translate so well. Our world is not like yours, she says. It is not so rich. There are no animals, no, she pauses, frowning. Vegetals? None of those. The only flesh is our flesh. She sighs. But we are blessed. When we eat bodies, nothing is lost except the corpse. The soul is preserved. She spreads her hand. The dead one becomes part of us. It becomes we. The word is vegetables. Yes, she says, raising an eyebrow. It does not matter. We do not eat things grown in dirt. She shrugs, and this is not why we are here. We heard rumors of the Dendra O'Hur magic, she says, concentrating. Your language's tenses clearly give her trouble. It does not stop at the soul. It pulls memories from dead flesh and soaks them into the mind. She gives you a rapturous smile. So we came through a portal in the bloom to learn this magic. We found our way to Sagus. We asked to join, she sighs. Now the portal is gone, we hear, but we will make another in time. How many bodies have you eaten? We do not share this, she suckles, chuckles. We prefer our feast to be private, but many, we find our feast on our own. Farewell. Yeah, I think I'm here. Yeah, because the most recent victim of the sorrow, I think, was brought here. So that's probably this body. So Kayawata, Mallet, Imbatu. That's the leader. What's up, Imbatu? At first glance, it would be easy to assume that this man is dying of some wasting disease or starvation. He is little more than a too tall skeleton wrapped in translucent flesh and a tattered robe. His hands are essentially bony claws. And yet, he beams at you, his sunken eyes glittering with suppressed laughter and feverish life. Calistage. Tread carefully, dear, Calistage murmurs. Imbatu is friendly enough, but he's also intelligent. Frighteningly so. Do not try to lie to him. Imbatu smiles. His teeth are a muddy brown. I know you, he says. So many eyes have lingered on that tattoo, that noble brow. He reaches for your forehead with a shivering, skeletal finger. Oh, I can either let him touch my forehead or pull away. I'll let him touch my forehead. My blue went up a little bit, and my red went up some. His fingertips trace a hot line over your tattoo. Yes, he says. Now I remember. Old Sirisa once saw you out of the corner of her eye. A week before his accident, Ulorimar sold you a bag of... He breathes, closing his eyes. Sugar-dusted almonds. But those aren't the only two. No, you drift through countless lives, altering and ending them, never leaving a name. He draws in his breath. Oh, I can't stand mysteries. Love them, but can't stand them. Who are you? I'm going to say I'm not the man you think I am. That was someone else. And my indigo went up a little bit. Imbito says. The same face, the same tattoo, but yes, different eyes. Perhaps you have a secret twin. He coughs gently against the back of his hand. So, what brings you to the chapel of the Dendra O'Hur? I'm helping Folsom investigate some trouble in the underbelly. Can I ask you some questions? Of course, he says, and do tell Folsom hello from me. We are dear friends. He raises a finger. Well, he frowns more than I smile. But we do have a grand time whenever we meet, which is often. One of Folsom's proteges was murdered. Do you know anything about it? Not a thing, he says, then grins. Why? Am I a suspect? I'll say maybe. Keeping your own counsel, he says, nodding sagely. Very wise. Very, very wise. I'd like to question your acolytes. Would that be all right? Can't allow it, I'm afraid, he says with a thin smile. Not without reason. They're young and easily distracted from the path I've laboriously carved before them. Perhaps another time. I'm say, are you sure you don't know anything about the murder? I don't, he sighs. I wish I did. Even in the best of times, Folsom is such a surly dinner companion. I can only imagine his mood now. I'm done talking about my investigation for now. So soon, he says, folding his hands. Very well. A sculptor told me that your people may have found a man killed by a strange creature. Yes, he says. I believe I know the poor man. Dry as a leaf, hollow as an eggshell. Barely any mind left in there at all. He clucks his tongue. Inspect him at your leisure. He's the one with the charred skin on his brow.
Making a note.
Now, I don't know much more about him, he says, chuckling, though I can assure you we plumbed the depths of his mind and body for answers. But I seem to recall seeing him before, possibly not through my eyes, mind you, in Cliff's Edge. He was coming out of a building near the chirurgical parlor. Tell me about yourself. Oh, there isn't much to tell. I've spent most of my years in this little chapel, he says, casting a fond look around. The Dendra O'Hur has rather consumed my life. Why did you join the Dendra O'Hur? Well, that is a good question. A very good question. I congratulate you on asking it. He rubs his hands together with a papery sound. I'm afraid, however, that outsiders rarely understand what calls us to the Dendra O'Hur. So, with apologies, I do not think I will answer. Okay, I want to talk about something else. Tell me about your cult. I hate calling somebody's thing a cult, but here we go. We worship the great Queen Sarluvan, or Sarlavun, sure, Lady of Maggots, Goddess of Entropy, and Guardian of the Empty Barrier, he says, then pauses, tapping a muddy tooth thoughtfully. Although worship is the wrong word, perhaps? He points to the altar nearby. It displays a skull with flat, unforgiving eyes buried in its hollow sockets. She waits on the other side of death with her billions of squirming children. They devour whatever passes into the realm, and rightfully so. Everyone must eat. His eyes twinkle fondly. But whatever she and her children eat is lost forever. And so the Dendra O'Hur work to preserve the minds and the mysteries of mortals before death claims them. We hold their shrill little thoughts in our minds and let them tumble around as they will. He shivers. It feels marvelous. I have some questions about the Dendra O'Hur. What does your cult's name mean, anyway? The old man's eyes dart from side to side, and he leans in. Nobody knows, he whispers, delighted. It's a mystery. Isn't that wonderful? How long have the Dendra O'Hur existed? Centuries, he declares, though how many, I couldn't say. We aren't devoted to paper records, as you might imagine. We prefer keeping them in our heads. He runs his tongue along the edge of his rotting teeth. Also, and this is slightly embarrassing, none of us managed to eat our founder. He simply disappeared one day. Can you imagine? Who founded your cult? A man named Melmoth Leviarm, he says and sighs. I do wish one of us had managed to eat him. I wonder if it was one of the changing god personalities that did it. How do you preserve humanity's knowledge? Oh, I thought everyone knew that, he says, surprised. We eat the flesh and organs of corpses to assimilate their minds. Then he trails off, noticing your expression. What? I was more interested in the process than your methods. Blue tide went up a little bit. Ah, a fellow scholark, he says. Well, it's quite simple and impossibly complex at the same time. He points to the various hoses and chambers adorning his robes. We do not chew on the corpses, of course. That would be quite messy. And lethal, most likely. Humans are a diseased bunch. Our suits liquefy dead flesh, extracting the information contained within. When we feed upon this enriched flesh, it becomes a part of us. At any rate, we scour the streets for bodies, left unclaimed. We bring them here and lay them upon the bears. His sweeping hand directs your attention to the still shrouded figures lying about their chamber. When a body is ripe with unplugged secrets, we gather about it and taste it together. Let a lifetime of thoughts flit around ours like little fish. Smacks his lips happily. Interesting. Oh, it is, he says, and dangerous, of course. It does, drive us all the slightest bit mad. He purses his lips like he's giving away a naughty secret. But it's worth it, even so. I want to talk about something else. Okay, farewell. Okay. I can't talk to the mallet. The burly man sneers at you, flexing massive, scarred hands that could easily encircle your throat. His tongue probes his stained, sharpened teeth, and a short, blood-stained club swings from a hook at his waist. Why would his club be blood-stained? So what you doing down here, shield meat, he says. Playing in the dark? He chuckles long and low. Mallet, Tybers mutters through a frozen grin. That Tiber is one of my companions. This numb slab beat his partner to death over 2 shins. Have you been part of the Dendra O'Hur for long? No, not long, he says. What sort of work did you do before? I broke stuff, he says, his eyes gleaming with dull humor. I don't think I don't recognize you, he adds, looking over at Tiber. I remember you and what you did. What I did, Tiber says, scratching his jaw. What I did? Oh, you're talking about how I told everyone you killed your partner for less than the cost of dinner? He smiles, but his eyes are cold. I'd do it again and for free. It doesn't matter. Mallet shrugs. None of that stuff matters anymore. This is my place now. Tell me about the Dendra O'Hur. Don't have to tell you nothing, he says, snorting. You ain't one of us. You ain't nobody. He jerks a chin at Imbetu. You want a tour? You talk to him. I'm busy. You can't tell me anything about the Dendra O'Hur? Nobody said nothing about can't, he says, picking a tooth. The word is won't. Maybe Imbetu will feel different. Not much for conversation, are you? The way I see it, he drawls, is I don't know you. You ain't done anything for me, and we got nothing to talk about. Not now, anyway. He crosses his arms. So why should we? Oh, so you'll open up if we have something to talk about? Oh yeah, he snorts. Won't be able to shut me up. All right, farewell. Why would his club be blood-stained?
Yes, child.
Kia Hiatawa. The woman watches you, measuring every step, every twitch of your hands, and yet there is no fear in her. Iron lines her spine and presses her mouth into a thin, even line. You take a wrong turn, she says, studying the nails on her right hand. Don't see many people down here for the light or the company. She steals a cautious glance at the hulking cultist nearby, then returns her gaze to you. You want something? How long have you been a Dendra O'Hur? Long enough, she says. Thought I'd found a place I belonged. Guess I was wrong. She falls silent. Why don't you feel like you belong in the Dendra O'Hur? She exhales, crushing her eyelids shut. Never mind. I shouldn't have said anything. What's bothering you? Nothing. No offense, but I don't know you at all. Leave me alone, all right? I'm say, what's bothering you? Nothing. No offense. I don't know you at all. Leave me alone, all right? Okay, farewell. I mean, it's pretty obvious something's up with this dude. I'm going to go back and talk to Imbetu. I have some more questions about the Dendra O'Hur. Okay, farewell. Yeah,
On my way.
Something's up with this mallet, dude. Alright, let's interact with this body. Hints of exposed bone push against the cloth over this corpse. Lift the shroud.
Updated my journal.
You carefully move the shroud to the side. There's no way around it. This dead man was a cast-off, and it would be hard for him to be deader. His flesh is papery, desiccated. His tattoo, or rather the charred remains of it, has burned through his skin into the bone beneath. That's interesting. And of course there's the matter of his charred eye sockets and his horrified gaping mouth. Parts of the corpse are missing. Remnants of an aborted Dendra feast. You aren't surprised they stopped. Touch the tattoo. Ooh. Took some damage. The last thing you remember before your fingertip grazes that tattoo is a rising buzz. Time stutters and breaks. Panting softly, you awaken, leaning against the bear for support. Your arm burns, your temples throb, and white static claws at the corners of your vision. Someone was screaming in that lightless, timeless void. You remember that much, but it wasn't you. None of the Dendra are looking your way. So I got 2 XP, but I took 2 damage to health pool. Alright, examine the cast-off's corpse again. Again, your eyes are drawn to the remnants of the cast-off's tattoo. It looks like it burst into flame when he died, burning right through his skin and the skull beneath. Weird. Examine it again. Okay, leave the corpse alone. Weird.
Of course.
Imbetu. farewell. Okay, what's in my journal here? Cold calculating jack. Alright, so this is... I can get a digging automaton for him, but it requires the intact course of a Sticus, huh? Okay. Where's the... Sorrow's Prey, Shaky Foundation, form of circles in red. Here it is. Folsom suspects the involvement of Matkina, the so-called White Death, who's an assassin of some repute. Mapper might know where Matkina is. Huh. Yet Mapper told me that Matkina... Man, I forget where he told me where she was at. Search for Matkina. Matkina may actually be a dangerous assassin. May know where... Well, I already talked to him. Mapper. I don't remember him telling me where to find her. Discover location, changing gods. Oh, I have to find the sanctuary so that Mapper will... That's right. So that Mapper will tell me where she's at. I don't know how to find Folsom. Alright, we're gonna leave.
I'm going.
I really need to get some rest because...
All right.
I'm down on health and I'm completely out of intellect on him. Alright, let's look at the map. I don't know how to find Folsom. I think he walked off, didn't he? Let me go back down here. And then I'm going to go to Government Square.
Yes.
Talk to Palaya again, just in case. What can you tell me about the Stika? Did I already ask that? Filthy animals, scuttering insects. Who can say if they're even sentient? First and foremost, they dig, and they care nothing for the homes they destabilize or the lives that are lost when our buildings collapse. They do not speak the truth reliably, so we cannot know, the truth, which is of the language of the world. So we cannot know if they understand the damage they cause. She frowns, though I suspect that they do. Ask me your questions. Perhaps we shall find a way to deal with these monsters. I should have asked her all this stuff before. I need a Stika corpse. Where did the Stika come from? Her eyes wobble in frustration. If I knew, I'd send them back there in a trice. Some years ago, perhaps decades, they simply appeared here and they've been causing problems ever since. What are they doing here? I cannot imagine. They dig incessantly. They insist upon digging tunnels underneath the city, destabilizing the crag upon which Sagus Cliffs is built. Countless buildings have collapsed or fallen into the sea, more so than is ordinary based on the shoddy construction so many of our residents employ. The problem has struck Cliff's Edge especially. Many loyal citizens have perished. This is actually a pretty big problem. How do you communicate with them? Her crest flutters as she hisses in irritation. I have not the faintest idea. I do not even know if they fully understand the truth. Perhaps the one that points at itself and chitters can help. I call it Chikekt. It can mutter a handful of words and perform some sign language. I've tried to negotiate with it, but I've gotten nowhere. Alright. Farewell. Right.
Allow me.
Oh, what is this? There's another area. Look at that. What is that? Cliff's Edge. Circus Miners. So there's areas I haven't been to yet. Alright, I want to go down here real quick and see if Folsom is still there. I think he walked on. No, he's still there.
Without doubt.
Folsom. Unblinking, unmoving, the huge man waits for you to approach. Do you have any new insights on the killer's motives? If this murder was intended to hurt me, it has succeeded. If it was meant to send a message, it failed. Huh. Okay. I feel like I feel like that Mallet is somehow involved, but
Without doubt.
I don't know how to take that theory any further at the moment. Let me go to the journal. Circles in red. Folsom asked me to bring any information I can find. Suspects the involvement of Makina's so-called White Death. Okay. Why was Mallet acting so weird? Interact. What is this? What is this? You find a jumbled pile of large rocks at the end of this roughly hewn tunnel. The motionless limbs of a Stychus protrude from the mound, the rents in its carapace painted with dried ichor. Might. Move the rocks to uncover the corpse. I can get to 70% with him. What can I do? Yeah, my best bet is with my main dude and get up to 70%. Yay, I succeeded.
I'll remember that.
The first rock is the hardest to shift. Once you warm to the task, you are nearly flinging them aside until you have fully exposed the corpse beneath. Examine the uncovered corpse. Clearly, the creature was digging in this tunnel when the roof collapsed and killed it. Its smaller claws mangled and smashed, but apart from the crushed thorax and a few gashes in its carapace, the body itself is surprisingly intact. Okay, step away. Can I not get it?
I'm ready.
Because there was a quest where I was supposed to get a Stychus body. Hold on a second. Yeah, I've uncovered an intact Stychus corpse at the end of a collapsed tunnel. I shall report its location to the Master Foreman. Okay. Yeah, I need to do that. Okay.
Ready.
So where else? What am I missing here? Oh, that's to Cliff's Edge. Okay. I'm going to go back to the Master Foreman here.
All right.
Tell him about that. And then we'll probably call it, because it's almost an hour. Probably call it a video here. Where's the Master Foreman at? There he is.
With alacrity.
Let's talk business again. Glad to. Out with it. I found a Stychus corpse at a dead-end tunnel on the far side of the underbelly. Will that work for a digging construct? The construct's flickering eyes become a bonfire. Fetchers, it roars. Artificers, report to supervisor for a new project.
Updated my journal.
Hours later, the workers trudge back. The supervisor makes a complicated hand sign to the Master Foreman. You'll find the construct where you left it, ready for use, the construct grumbles. I should have asked you to pay after all. Supervisor says it's a masterpiece. Its eyes dim as it descends into a deeper thought. But no, a deal's a deal. Alright, let's talk business again. Glad to. Out with it. Actually, I don't need help right now. Okay. Fine. Are we done here? Yeah, goodbye. So I guess I need to go back to where I left. Okay, so that's the way to Cliff's Edge. A Stychus automaton. That's pretty crazy. All right.
Of course.
We'll end here and pick up next time on the Shane Plays Let's Play series of Torment Tides of Numenera. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. Make sure to leave this video a thumbs up, maybe a comment on YouTube. That helps me very much. And again, I appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. We will catch you next time on Shane Plays.